You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew Kouba.
My name is Nick Sperry.
And I am JJ from Planning Phase Syndicate.
In this episode, our final episode of the year, we have much to talk about, including the Phoenix and PAX Unplugged Grand Tournaments. Nick was at PAX Unplugged, so we'll get our on-the-ground reporting there. Yeah. And also later in the show, we're going to talk about the new X-Wing Alliance beta points and a little bit of Star Wars Unlimited, because you can check over on JJ's Planning Phase Syndicate podcast, where they talk about Star Wars Unlimited quite a bit. But since this is an X-Wing podcast, we're going to start there. And Nick, how was your time at PAX?
PAX was great. It was like, it's like Gen Con, but way more chill. It was huge. The convention center was really nice. It's like this modern, it's like just beautiful architecture in the inside and out. Easy to get to. Philadelphia was cool. I've never been. Had a bunch of cheesesteaks. Had a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Played some high level X-Wing. Good turnout.
Yeah.
It was great. I'm glad I did it. I shout out to Stephen Weiland. He made top 4, number 3 overall. But since the sightseeing with him, and he nudged me into going because he said, "Hey, you don't have to worry about paying for a place to stay. I already booked a hotel." So that was the reason why I was able to go, because otherwise awesome. I would not be able to go.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
Steven is such a top shelf dude. Yeah.
Really
super excited for him, and glad that you're able to go together. Steven also nice enough to be repping 312 Squadron out there too.
Yeah, he looked good in that jersey, man. The jerseys making their kind of convention debut at PAX, and felt good to be representing the crew with the hardware. It just looks so good. So that was cool. It was awesome to see him rocking our jersey during Top Cut. As well. Got some good pictures of him, and really proud of him. And I'm happy with how I played. We got paired up the last round, and the unfortunate situation was that my side, if I won, I still wouldn't make cut, even though I was 3-1. And if he won, he would be number 3. So he did beat me fair and square, but it's a frustrating situation to be in when no matter what you can't make cuts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I did see that there were a number of 4-win players that just weren't able to make it. That's where the strength of schedule really came into play for this tournament.
Yeah, it was I'm excited to talk about the event itself and kind of like what I saw and everything, but
yeah, because this is still standard,
and it's like a new meta, but not super new, just like slightly new, with like a couple of minor points adjustments that Atomic Mass Games made like randomly a few months ago, and it was I was interested to see what I would see a lot of, and it was honestly, I thought I would dread some of my matchups more. I did go up against Imperial Aces, but thankfully, because it was Scramble and I had a really good list for it, I was able to kind of just put a lot of pressure on with scenario points. So that was the only matchup I was worried about, was like a Duncan Howard matchup, or somebody just bringing someone who's already really good, bringing high initiative aces that are almost impossible to take off the board.
So I do got to ask, in relation to the Imperial Aces, did you run into any of the standard loadout whispers or echoes out there, and what were your impressions on them?
Apparently both were out there. I ran into Whisper, and I played Tyler Tippett. I've only played Tyler a couple of times. This is, I think, the second time I've played him. I barely lost in a Heartbreaker and a bubble game to make cut at LVO a year ago against him. And then this year, I was able to get the matchup in terms of the scenario I wanted. So I was playing a 5-ship Rebel list. It was Fen, Wedge, Luke, Keo, and Sabine. So just super good for any scenario, really, but especially for Scramble. And he brought Whisper, SL Whisper. And I'll be honest, I have no idea how good, how high the ceiling is for Whisper. I know it's pretty high, but because I was scrambling so much, he was really incapable of taking any meaningful actions because he had to constantly keep scrambling. And it was awesome because Whisper did like no damage that game, dude. I was very lucky.
You found the weak point.
Mandalorian Optic. I was like, I'll Mandalorian Optics, and it's like, oh well, Whisper's in front of me, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna lose that lock immediately. So no.
Nice.
Oh man, yeah. But there was a couple out there. There were a couple.
I was gonna say that Doug Howe is also flying Imperial Aces, but yeah, honestly, the or Karsabi, they came out with the standard loadouts for the Alpha, the Starwing. Not a lot of those on the field either.
Yeah, I'm not as surprised, to be honest. I think Harsabi is interesting. I think Vendor is pretty good, but
Hmm.
I think honestly, you know what it really says a lot about, and is that
Availability.
I4s don't have a place in the AMG meta, and they still
Oh,
don't.
that too.
So
Yeah,
that's a huge issue with them.
I was
I
gonna
was going to say,
say, yeah,
do you think it's more the lack of availability of the ship itself, or just people not comfortable with flying the ship?
I think that
I
too.
think it's multiple things. I do think the biggest the non-starter is, oh, this is, I'm bringing something that will suffer because it is not an i5 or i6. I think
Yeah,
that's like the main thing. Anybody that really wants to bring something because they think they'll win with it will find a way to get one or borrow one. That's my belief. There are enough communities out there who look out for each other that, you know, someone has a Star Wing. They used to be on the shelves. I bought mine for $15 at my game store. Like, you know, if you really want to fly one, you could probably find a way to borrow one or buy one if you care that much. But
yeah.
I just think the unknown around flying something new that we haven't had in standard, plus the fact that they're i4, I think is enough for people to look at something else.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is
for sure.
yeah, the way I feel about it, honestly.
I was gonna say, looking at some other grand tournaments, it still looks like Rebels and Republic are still top of the table.
Yeah, I mean, if we
I
want
was
to
gonna
dive
say,
into
talking about
PAX and
top
Phoenix,
4, it's a faction salad, which is
for
kind of great.
PAX, right?
Yeah. Do we
So
want to start at number 4 moving up?
yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna try to, on the stream side of things, I'm gonna try to kind of show it for the folks watching. There we go. Yeah,
Sounds good.
let's talk about
It's
it. I'll talk about Heaver really quick because him and I brought like the same
sure.
list with slightly different
I was
upgrades.
gonna say, yeah, you did, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I can start. I start off with the number 4 if we want to just go through those really quick because
Oh,
we
are we
have
going 4 to 1?
yeah.
Sure.
Let's go 4-1, I
Yeah,
guess. Save the best for last. We had Scum at number 4 for it's Asmeril,
yeah.
Lee Mackay, Cad Bane, Bosk, Doctor Afra, Manaru. So it's nice seeing Scum finally doing well in standard, making it to that top 4 cut. Classic big chunky list. Lots of shenanigans with Doctor Afra and Cad Bane, and Bosk is just ever since it's been 2 points has been a great include. And then quickly we can do Stephen Weiland bringing a Republic, the dedicated like list that does great with Contrail, Oddball, Click, Matchstick, and Broadside with the Sokatano. So, so I don't know if you wanted to go over then Paul Heaver and Duncan Howard's match, Nick,
Yeah, I mean, JJ, why don't you talk about Duncan's list,
or
and
that.
then we
Yeah,
can kind of circle back on a couple
Yeah,
of the 3 and 4s.
absolutely. Just really quick, big shout out to our perennial guest host Alex Merrill, bringing in that
Alex,
scum list. Like he
you,
is
it's that
amazing with that
Alex.
list.
He
Yeah,
was
that's
on our
Alex.
show, friend
Yeah.
of the
yeah.
show.
So, so Duncan, bringing something that he's actually very very adept with. It's a 4 ship Empire list here. It's a bit of an ace list here with support. So he has the standard loadout, Colonel Jendon, along with Darth Vader Tie Fighter. I believe that's the SSP one, the one that comes in the starter pack. Captain Faroff with Ruthless Tact Officer and Targeting Computer, and then Scythe 6, which is one of the Battle of Endor TIE fighters that comes in with 4 hull. Really, really solid support ship on the side, or solo ship, I should say, on the side. There, he can definitely do quite a bit of objective play with Darth Vader. He gets extra support from Faroff, who can do very, very well in salvage, being able to grab a crate and still use those ailerons. And if your opponent has no tokens, gets that free evade over there. Just a lot of offensive potential between Jendon and Vader, and then Faroff is just a really solid support ship that can also contest objectives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Duncan bringing surprisingly to me, he's been trying to win, with every faction, but bringing Empire again after Tomax was brought up to 4 points. So he swapped Tomax for Scythe 6 for that 3 point slot. Just Duncan just doesn't take damage typically. So this list, you have I6s, you have Scythe 6 with the extra hole. If you're going all in on a TIE fighter for 3 points, good for him. Like that's going to work
Yeah,
out
for
in his
sure.
favor. I going back to Steven's list really quick. No Arc 170s in that list at all. That's a V Wing,
Oh,
oddball.
okay. Oddball. Yeah.
V Wing click. I guess there is no Arc 170 click, but just to be specific, Matchstick and Broadside in the Y Wings. Ahsoka though was one of the random, kind of point adjusted decisions that AMG made and brought her down to 5 points and 7B. So Steven able to give people multiple actions with her ability, or she can just be self-sufficient and take multiple actions. R4P17 gives her an opportunity to take an action even while stressed. Heightened perception, she can avoid being initiative killed. So
Yeah.
just and a ton of bombs, in this
There's a
list.
lot of
He's
bombs. Yeah.
let's see. He's got thermal detonators, concussion bombs, ion bombs, concussion bombs again, proton bombs, and of course Ahsoka. It would be funny if she had bombs, but she had spare parts canisters.
Yeah. I guess I wanted to say also
Uh,
to JJ, I'm sorry, I didn't realize Asmeril was Alex Merrill because I definitely should have let you take over describing that. That's such a bummer, but
it's all right. We could. I mean,
No worries.
yeah. That it's a good. Alex has been playing
it
that.
is a good
Like
list.
his list did not change with any of the points updates, and I saw
Mhm.
him randomly at PAX the day before, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, man? I know you're gonna be here." And he's like, "Yeah." They dragged me out of retirement. I haven't played in months since Worlds. So I was like, oh, okay. And then yeah, of course, he just made
Top
top
Gun.
four. So
I was gonna say, yeah,
Just
yeah, with
catching
no,
up.
Scum, which is like,
I played this list at tournaments back in when Standard was the only points meta out there. Um,
there
and
was no
it's really
XWA.
good.
Yeah.
This is all about giving your opponent stress and making it really bad if they have stress.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
It's really good.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's really solid. So Alex lost to Paul Heaver, who ended up winning the whole tournament with a 5 ship rebel list. So he had Wedge Antilles that battle over Endor Wedge, who essentially has an unavoidable double modded advanced proton torpedo.
Hmm.
In the hands of the average to great player like Paul, it is just a matter of when it's going to happen, not if. It is just R2 A3, allowing yourself to spend a charge after doing an action to acquire a lock. He can focus link roll. He can focus boost, even though he's depleted. He can still do a 4-die advanced proton torpedo. He can take a crate and take a lock. He can just scramble, take a lock, whatever. And extra shield, he gets a defensive reroll if there are more friendlies and enemies nearby, and he has Predator. And if his attack hits, he gets a focus back for his ability. So just probably the best X-wing pilot in the meta right now for Rebels. Like Luke is obviously right there with him, but this is the type of wedge that people have only dreamed of being able to play that stays alive
Yeah.
longer and still hits very hard. Um, I played the same wedge, so the same list, just slightly different upgrades. He also brought Luke. That's Battle of Yavin Luke, 5 point regenning Protorp carrier with Force. You've got Fen Rao in the Fang Fighter. This version, the winning list version for Paul, had Beskar clan training in Swarm Tactics. So he would make Luke an I6. Just the way he flew the list is a way that I'm not usually comfortable with, but he capitalizes on because 3 I6s, that's an insane alpha to deal with. Fen, you got Concordia, you're fast. He's
Hmm.
he's really good.
I was gonna say that
five
also
point
works well
piece,
in
and
the
then he's
mirror
got Keo
match.
with vectored cannons and Juke. So system phase boost, and then he's evading every turn. You have the force. You can side slip, super hard to kill and worth nothing. Only 3
Yeah,
points. And then Sabine with no loadout at 2 points in the TIE Fighter.
I mean, even with with Sabine losing her Beskar plating, she's still good. She can still reposition really well. She can cover a lot of ground, and you gotta dedicate a lot of resources just to go knock out that cheap ship. So it's such a useful ship to have in the list.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I a couple of my games, she just kind of randomly exploded out of nowhere, but I was like, ah, like that's her job, I guess. Like she's gonna take the heat off of the rest of the list. She's not. She's worth 2 points. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember the final score, but Duncan and Paul played final table. I think it was chance engagement. I believe the score was within a couple of points. So that duel of the fates. I took a picture of the two of them playing. I'm like, look at this. Of course. It just in terms of scanning through the rest of the field here, Ted T, I can't remember his last name. He brought a list with a bunch of bullseye mechanics that was super scary to deal with. I did a good job of dodging most of it, but Lee Mackay with Brockets, Cad Bane with Brockets, Cutthroat, Contraband, and Xandu Blood, Dirge with Proton Cannons, Contraband, and Fearless. And then he had the Mandalorian
Oof.
with Razor Crest. He had Contraband underneath that, the Child and Fearless, and then Lapin, this really annoying 3-point mining guild TIE fighter who, if you're stressed, you can't modify your dice while you're defending against Lapin or shooting at him. So I had opportunities to kill Lapin, but because I linked actions, I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, you just forget
And then
about
on
it.
top of that, getting stressed or strained.
Getting
Oh
strained
man.
with Mark Stable Closure
Wow.
and the rocks, and had Ion Cannon as well. It's like, woof.
Nasty.
Seriously.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a cool list.
And you got to dodge a lot of bullseye arcs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He played that game well. The Mandalorian was sitting in the middle of all my ship's firing arcs with the structural damage, and I was able to take him out pretty quickly, but in return, he range zero nattied into
Lucky.
Luke, and then Luke just kind of insane,
Oh.
just evaporated out of
Oh
nowhere. I was like, okay. And that's how he was able to win our
Yeah.
game.
Heck of a trade.
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
but yeah, just looking at other lists, it's a lot of rebels. We saw, a decent amount of resistance, separatists with very little representation. I see one list right now for separatists in at PAX. Not a lot of Republic either, very little FO. So shockingly, you know, rebels resistance empire making up most of the field here. But there's a few scum lists, which is cool. I think 4 scum lists I'm counting. 1, 2, 3, 5 scum lists. 4 or 5. So that's neat.
Yeah, I gotta say it's pretty impressive, right? Because for the majority of the last points update, Scum just did not have a very good like performing like list, right? That would constantly make it.
Yeah. I would say for the majority of just 2.5, Scum didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, technically CIS is like
it's
the
good to see
worst
them.
performing faction in AMG points, but
Oh
Scum is
yeah,
right next to it.
for
Pretty
sure.
close. Yeah, we're struggling for sure. And mostly because where CIS was getting a little bit of love with SOC, they still just the faction identity struggles when everything's so fragile and low initiative. And then Scum just is just so 2.0y. It's hard to play
Hmm.
scenarios with Scum. I think that's always been a big issue, right?
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Very little force carriers, very little ways to protect the ships if they do scenario actions, things like
Yeah,
that.
no not the synergies are all self-sufficient, kind of lone wolf type abilities as well.
Yeah. And that makes it hard to balance as a faction, too.
Yeah, that's true. At the same time, this past weekend, when we're recording this past weekend, we had the Phoenix, the North Phoenix GT. That was a 2-day event as well, which is cool. So 2 concurrent GTs happening in the US, and I say that like it means something because really there weren't that many GTs. Like 2 in the same day is kind of cool. Like there's just not a
Yeah.
ton to be able to play at. And our friend Dwight Lindsay, who was on our last episode from Lock and Roll, was at this event, which is cool, and he went 3-2 as well, which is neat. He did so. Congrats to Dwight for playing well there. And Phoenix,
Yeah. Also, it's great they have one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. Phoenix, though, wild top
yeah,
8.
lots of rebels.
5 rebel lists in the top
And a
8.
top 8, not a top 4, which is cool.
Right. And they did the top 8. Yeah. 2
yeah.
Republic, 1 Resistance. Coming in with Jonathan's list, correct? No.
I'll have you with Alex
Uh,
Farley's.
Yeah,
yeah.
Alex Farley.
With Wedge Antilles, with Battle Over Endor, we already talked about why that guy's so great. Fen Rao with Mandalorian Optics, Beskar Reinforced Plating, and Predator, still also very lethal. Ahsoka Tano, great at 4 points. Magpulse Warheads, Patience, and Compassion, going a little more aggressive uh, with Ahsoka, but that's, I think, kind of the standard build for her now. And then Bodica doing what Bodica does, Beskar Reinforced Plating, Mandalorian Optics, and Clan Training, just to get that extra focus if you need it. And then Sabine Wren, great little 2 point ship. And it's fun to see this many Fangs and Rebels and also doing so well.
I'm almost surprised. I'm like it's just like I know Bodica's good, and I know Fen Rao is good. I just that's a lot of like squishiness. Even though you
Hmm.
have Beskar, Fang
It
fighters, it's so tough.
it's squishiness, but it's also a lot of offensive output as well. So I think this is just a just list that you really hope that first engagement goes well.
I mean, I flew for the 312 League. I flew those Mandalorian or Clan Ren volunteers, and
You sure did.
I mean, I got to tell you, man, when you can put them in range one consistently and get shots in there, I mean, it really just discourages your opponent from taking shots at them just because of that auto evade and the crit cancellation there. So
Yep.
they can be squishy at range, but if you can range control really well, I mean, you can do some serious work with those fangs. They're so good.
Yeah, I liked the Clan Ren volunteers with outmaneuver, but you can put. I mean, they got so much loadout too. Yeah, those Fang fighters
Yeah,
can
it's an
get
insane amount of
really.
loadout.
Yeah, those Fang fighters can get really aggressive.
We might want to start paying them. They're doing so well. Am I right? Clan Ren volunteers and maybe give them minimum wage. It's one of the worst jokes.
In this
Oh, Zach
economy
Bart
with
was
these
there.
fuel
That's
prices,
cool. Yeah, with the fuel leak with these gas prices. Go to our merch store, buy the fuel leak with these gas prices shirt today. Zach Bart, my man, Zach from the Hangar 19 Indianapolis crew. He typically helps run Crossroads, and he was a great host for us and Matt and I for 312 when we streamed their event last year. um, and he brought the same list to with all due respect to Zach, he brought the same list as what we just listed a couple times. This Ahsoka also has mag pulse like Alex Farley's, but it seems like there is Grasser brought the same list after that. Not to jump to the next person, but it's the same. So there's clearly been a bit of a circle of communication about what type of rebel list you should bring to a GT. I
and
don't
they
know
were
if it's just the
correct.
crates talking about this, but it seems to be popular. What about Dick Willie? Love that name. That is a phenomenal name. How about you, JJ?
Definitely. Yeah, I guess so. He actually came in with a really interesting list. I like it a lot. So it's Leia Organa with Heightened Perception, Ursa Wren, Mag Variaro, Bastan, Millennium Falcon, and Electronic Baffle. I think she is the only pilot right now for the Falcon that can carry the Bastan combo, right? Or can
Lando
carry
can as
Bastan in
well. He went
general.
up against Lando
Oh yeah, that's
at
right, Lando.
PAX, and
Lando.
he can take him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got three A wings. We got Hera with mag pulse and marksmanship, Ahsoka with brilliant evasion and concussion missiles, Kia with juke, and then Sabine Wren in the Tie Fighter. There, I mean, solid list. You got some really fast movies there. Leia Organa can essentially do double miter shots as she needs to with Magva and Ursa Wren there. Kind of needs to just hang back, allow the A wings to kind of beat that initial screen, and then she can just pick off everybody she needs to there. You have a lot of great fast moving ships that can go in, contest objectives as you need to, and get out when they need to. So it's a very solid list.
I mean, it's awesome seeing Leia. Like, hell yeah.
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, no Luke, no Wedge.
Yeah, that's awesome. She could actually doesn't have to be flying on her lonesome like Mary Poppins in space. She can be in the Falcon. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Too soon still for that reference. Blastromech though, Andrew, let's do this is the only Republic list that made top 8. Everything else rebels.
Yeah, and then this one with the build your own oddball with veteran tail gunner and RP astromech. We got Stub with a shield upgrade, Ricole coming into this list, Daredevil crackshot R2C4, Daredevil and Ricole, one of my favorite ways to fly them, super fun. And then you got Contrail with Lone Wolf and shield upgrade, and we have Axe. And Matchstick, Ion Cannon turret, Seismic Charges, and Delayed Fuses. So this is a list that it's got a combination of like fast ships and then also chunky ships that you have
Yeah.
to get through for not that much value. Uh,
Axe is really good too in the
Axe is
torrent with
very good, yeah,
the
and for like I
barrage
think
rocket.
still 3 points though, right? So
Yeah.
great value for what you get. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
another very solid Republic morph after the slight nerfing of the gunships. Yeah,
The nerf heard around the world.
yeah, the needed one. Yeah.
The oddball nerf, the
Yeah.
5 point oddball nerf, yeah,
Hmm.
or the 4 points of 5 point, yeah, it was a needed app. And then you Trib brought Han. Oh my god! Hey, Han Solo, Captain the Millennium Falcon. That's my really good Han Solo impression. Like if he was really drunk, or if I was really drunk doing Han Solo impression, that's what it would sound like.
And if he was a newsboy in the 1920s.
A fast ship, yeah, newsboy in the 1920s. Exactly. Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I really want to say the joke, but it's so overdone that I'm just gonna hold off. So Han's got Millennium Falcon title, engine upgrade, Ezra Bridger for the Force, and the bonus attack with a turret. Ezra lets you do that, which is a way to get around Bistan. Chopper and novice technician. And then we've got Ahsoka with the Magpulse marksmanship and patience, so no compassion. Taiko Kelchu. Oh, this is dope, dude. Oh my god, I am like loving this. Oh my gosh, can you see how you can tell how stale everything is to me? I see this list, I'm like screaming internally and externally. Taiko, build your own Taiko, the A-wing with a heavy laser cannon, lone wolf, and elusive. I don't want to shoot at that guy.
Yeah, I5. Yeah,
Giovenzi with Magpulse warheads and Predator, and then Sabine. Like, how about it? Finished top 8, snuck in there at number 8.
I
That's
like
great.
elusive on Tycho because he just gets to recharge that, and then on top of Lone
Yo,
Wolf. Yeah,
yeah,
that is so
yeah.
cool.
I love Prockets on Tycho too, but it's really stupid with in XWA because you can take composure and just
Yeah,
botch you botch a double modded shot every turn.
incredible.
Yeah, it's gross.
But yeah, it is gross. I've been abusing it constantly. But
Uh,
Tycho
that's
still
why they
really good
banned it
at
in standard.
AMG.
Yeah,
Yeah, a composure is just like has a composure. I think Sabine used to also in the attack shuttle used to abuse composure as well.
yeah.
She could what was she could fail her ability and then focus and then move and then lock when the attack shuttle. So they had
Awesome.
yeah. So composure's seen its days for sure.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna at this point. I think it would be all right if it also just got banned again. Like, doesn't
yeah,
need to be
well,
in X-wing
I'm
anymore.
bringing it tomorrow. So
I mean, the shuttle Sabine, she can still do what debris gambit. You could do the barrel roll into evade with debris gambit.
why are we talking about shuttle Sabine? Is she even legal in standard?
And then XWA, she's legal.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We're talking about both XWA and AMG.
Well, I was gonna say
I'm
that's
taking
actually
blame on this because I mentioned a composure first. I just love seeing Tycho at AMG points as well.
I
Like that's
I was
dope.
I was gonna say that's a great transition into the XWA
Yeah.
Beta Points
Shout out
update.
to Grasser for winning. Jonathan Grasser won the
Yes.
event.
Yeah.
Real quick before we talk about XWA, my I have a strange connection. Sorry, I hit my microphone by accident. I have a strange connection to Jonathan. Super random. My
Mm,
awesome Rebel backpack that I sadly had to throw away after 5 years of service. Jonathan has the exact same one, literally exact same one that I got from Star Wars Celebration. So shout out to
Nice.
Jonathan for having a good list, winning Phoenix GT, and having a dope backpack. All right, we can move on.
that's cool. No, that is cool. So we did get our first update. Our first official, our third. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say that there was kind of like a mini one in between. This one has, I think, it's been the most impactful update so far for XWA, and it's got a lot of stuff going on. One thing I will say, I do like that XWA comes out with the documentation saying, hey, this is everything we changed and why, if you don't want to like go look list by list.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Martin Liu from my PR team for doing once again the formatting and branding kind of layout for these documents. He is the reason why they look so good.
Well,
So
nice. He's doing a great job.
appreciate you,
Keep it up.
Martin.
Hell yeah.
Good member of the PR team, public relations. Our relations are almost as good as my relations are with JJ's mother. Had to sneak in one of those. Sorry, JJ.
I was waiting. Reset the clock. Yes.
Yeah, to turn back the clock. Oh, Andrew's like these guys.
Hey,
Uh,
just a couple of guys hanging out.
just a couple of guys. Yeah. So what's nice about for anyone that wants to look at this awesome documentation, xwing.life is the XWA resource site for everything. And if you go to xwing.life/resources, you'll be able to find where you need to go to look at this document.
Yeah.
That breaks down the beta points version 3 changes.
I was gonna say, JJ, have you had a lot of experience with the playing XWA lists?
Oh yeah, between the draft league right now and practicing for the next season of the 312 league. Yeah, I've been playing a ton of different lists and stuff like that. I've been concentrating a lot more with CIS as of late, but yeah, just playing a lot of XWA points for sure.
Yeah, well, great. Well, I would say then too, as a CIS player, one of the strongest, I think, factions in XWA. There have been a lot of changes, not as much on this new one for CIS, but were there any changes that you saw that were obvious as like, yeah, that was a great idea?
Honestly, the proximity mines was definitely a needed change. I think,
Hmm.
especially for the bombers, for the hyena bombers and CIS, just being able to have indie calcs and have the proximity mines made them pretty strong,
And
especially when you
fuses.
also combine it. Yeah, the fuses, and you can also do the struts on top of that as well.
Yeah.
Just nerfing that down makes you play them differently. And it took me at least 2 games where I kept on running my hyena bombers onto obstacles only to realize, oh yeah, that's right, they don't have struts anymore. And yeah,
Oh no.
Oh, JJ,
Oh
no.
no.
I'd
yeah,
laugh so hard, dude.
it's great.
We did get that on stream. Was that on stream?
No, it was not on stream,
Oh,
thank God.
dang.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I got. I'm gonna answer that question, Andrew. Even though you didn't ask me, I'm gonna jump in and answer that question as well.
Well, I was gonna ask everybody.
Um, So as I'm gonna play I'm the meatball X-wing player for a quick second. When I first saw these, I was like, I am personally attacked because I've been playing a list with multiple things that have got nerfed, and then 5 seconds after I had that initial reaction, I was like, oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So Aiden Fox, my boy
Yeah.
Aiden. Why can't I have a 4-point I1 rocket carrying, focus evading, proton bomb dropping, 2 agility throwing B-wing? Because that's not fair at 4 points. But I had a lot of fun playing them. That's
I
for damn
the
sure.
That was the first thing I read about the new points changes. I thought of you immediately. I was like, "Oh, Nick is going to be so bummed."
I mean,
And it's
I
and
had
it's
not been
so
playing
and
B-wings at
it's so
all.
obvious. Yeah. I was like, it absolutely needs to change. Nick is definitely going to be bummed.
Yeah. The one that I actually really disliked personally is because and I blame the SL Shara Bay for this happening. Is the only reason why 3-point Shara Bay went up to 4 is because the SL version, which is worse, needed to be cheaper. So A-Wing Shara, who was in jail at 4 points with like not a lot of loadout and AMG points, or still is, went down to 3 and had enough to take proton rockets. And I was like, hell yeah, like her ability is
Yeah,
pretty niche. She's
Hmm.
like, a cheap rocket carrier, but I4 squishy, like is a 3-point rocket carrier a little too far? I'd say probably, but she was never really that good. So I felt sad about that just because I used to play Shara in 2.0. No one played her then. No one really played her now, and she will not get played again. So, but I understand you need to keep the SL version cheaper because it's a lot worse. Like the SL version is very uninspiring. It's
Yeah.
I mean, she's
hopeful
great
and
in the Arc
concussion
170.
missiles. Oh, dude, I remember that. I remember playing 2.5 with the first rule set and Ursa Red and Gavin, and I would from across the mat target lock target lock Shara so that I could get target locks.
Oh yeah,
It was amazing.
I
so
was gonna say
good.
I remember that. Yeah, like in 2.0, right?
So
Or at the
Ursa was a
start.
2.0 release, right? But it was like right as the game transitions, and you
Yeah,
could she needed to be errated, and it
Right.
didn't happen until after the first Adepticon
Yeah. Oh wow.
2.5. You could
Oh
lock
yes. Yeah. No.
anybody
Right.
locking her.
Correct. Yeah.
She could lock. Yeah, it was
Yes.
crazy.
No. I remember that meta. Yeah.
Yeah, it was silly. But yeah, the rebel changes all make sense. Like just to kind of do quick summary, Bodica and Fen, their loadout was slightly tweaked.
Hmm.
Um, Sabine, is it Sabine Gunner or Crew? I
The
think it's
yeah
Crew.
crew.
Yeah, Sabine Crew went up just because you can kind of abuse that. And
Hmm.
Gavin Darklighter, my boy Gavin. Oh God, do I love Gavin? I love
E-wing
the
Gavin.
E-wing. Everybody, we all know this already, but I love it. His loadout went down a couple to make Corrin a little bit more interesting.
yeah.
I was gonna say, from me, from my perspective, like I played a lot of Empire and Scum so far with like XWA. I will say the Lambda losing the title, that definitely makes sense. Being able to double mod shots anywhere really made that Lambda feel like just an auto
Yeah,
include in every
Lieutenant
Empire
Sai.
list, or Psi, I mean, right in the
Yeah,
Lambda.
a sigh of
And
relief.
yeah, sometimes I felt, some of my opponents would be like groaning when they saw like, oh, another Lambda now. But it was fun to play it again. It's going to be interesting seeing Whisper going down to 6 points now. So I think we're going to see a little more standard Whisper. I think, yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what that meta looks like as well.
You can run custom Vader with that with the SL Whisper, and that's a pretty good combo on its own, and that still leaves you with 8 points to fill up your list. And
Oh,
Empire
for
has so many
sure.
great choices for 4 pointers. So
Yeah,
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 absolutely. So yeah, I thought
that's true.
that one made sense. The one that I'm excited about though for Scum just kind of got some boosts. Fen Rao going down to 5 points. I've already kind of put him in my lists to see how good that really is. Loadout to 3 is pretty good. That kind of limits what you're going to be taking. My feeling right now is just Fearless is probably good enough. But also moving up old Terrox loadout to 11 kind of makes that an interesting choice as well.
now I was gonna say I do have a question for both of you guys on how you feel the comparison between Rebel Fen is versus Scum Fen. Right, we just had
Ooh,
Scum Fen come down to 5 points with 3 loadout there. We all know that he has a high ceiling where he can potentially roll natties with red dice that are got a 50% chance to roll paint,
he
right?
could potentially
Hmm.
roll
Um,
natties. I love that.
yeah, exactly. He has a very good chance to do it, right? Versus Rebel Fin route, which doesn't have that same output. Do you still think that we could potentially see Rebel Fin also come down in points
Oh
since he's
God,
not
to
as offensive
4?
minded?
I
No,
No, he's
that's my
six,
answer.
isn't he?
I thought Rebel Fenra was 5 in
Let me
XWA.
double check.
I will need to double
yeah.
check that. That's gonna need. We need a fact check. The rules were Margaret. You were going to fact check.
I think at five, yeah, Fenrau is 5 points.
Oh, he has a five. Do
Yeah,
you do you think he's worth coming down to 4 maybe with no loadout?
for no loadout, no.
I Here's my hot take is that I understand why some things like Jan Ors, for example, don't have any loadout, but I don't want it to be common practice to take things that we'd like to be able to put loadout on and like restrict it from being able to put anything on. Like I
Gotcha.
understand from like a couple instances doing it, but like Rebel Fenrau, like I want to put upgrades on him. Like I think he should be able to do that. So
Yeah,
I'm trying
and
to see
I
XWA. Yeah,
think
he's
that
5 with 8 loadout.
putting him down to 4 brings the same issue kind of that we had with 2.5, where you, by making such high initiative ships so cheap again, that bumps up the average initiative that everyone else has to play at across the board. I still think
That's
4
fair.
point I6 is pretty good. I mean, Soontir Fell had one loadout, and that got taken away immediately.
That's my
uh,
fault. I asked for that,
no,
and
no, I
they,
mean,
they
I think
actually tried it.
it was worthy to experiment with.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. Is you try it out. Turned out that was actually kind of too good. Um,
Hmm.
and Fenn's ability to kind of opens up on his own, opens up a lot of really great possibilities for rebels to abuse that anyway. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, kind of like where it's at, and I'm curious to see whether Scum Fen even stays at 5 points.
Yeah, the XWA has made it pretty abundantly, clear that they're willing to do an emergency change if there's enough overwhelming
Right.
data to that it's not fair. I'm not hearing too much yet, but we'll see. I'm not on the playtest side. Um,
Yeah.
I also, the other thing, JJ, is like it's kind of a dilemma because like I appreciate the question. Because Scum Fen Rao is just a lot better than Rebel Fen Rao when it comes to just damage, and like he's harder to kill at range one than Rebel Fen. Like Rebel
Mhm.
Fenrau, you can still just kill him because he doesn't roll 4 green dice with Concordia at range
Mhm.
one. Um, I think not being able to give Scumfen Beskar is a good way to differentiate between the two.
Yeah.
I would consider giving Rebel Fenrau more than 8 loadout if you really wanted to separate the two. But I think it's fine right now. I personally, like, outside of AMG points, like in XWA points, I've been playing Rebels like religiously, and kind of have to for the draft league, and we've played well this season. We're in the playoffs right now. Um, I would not bring Rebel Fenrau in my list. I'm good. I don't think it would work for me, but maybe for someone else it would.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad.
It's not bad. I just think the risk of, like, 5 points is 25% of the game.
Oh
So,
no, for
you
sure.
know, yeah, right. So it's just like, it just depends on I think the type of play style you want. If you want to go aggressive, Fangs are really good for that. There's just enough in XWA right now. There's enough ambiguity still. Like, how often am I going to see proton cannons? How often am I going to
Hmm.
see proton bombs or protorps or anything that just makes a Fang fighter just shudder? I'm just not going to play them right now until I know I can confidently take them
That's
Yeah.
fair.
for me.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, I will say that with XWA, it feels like the firepower of a lot of ships has gone down quite a bit, making things a little more viable than they were. I would say even in the middle of 2.5. Not in this current meta. I think that the fangs are now pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I've been playing like a kind of a salad list. Like, I've been playing a lot of Corrin in the X-wing, and that's been really fun. And Tycho, and just playing more A-wings
Yeah.
again. And yeah, the I don't feel like me taking a 3-point Tie Fighter is like going to be a game-ending decision.
Yeah, for
Like, it
sure.
might be, for Rebels, not not for Empire, obviously,
Right.
but like a 3-point tie fighter for Rebels. Like, it's like, oh, you want to bring Ezra? Sure, he has Force, but like, can he kill anyone? Usually, no.
Hmm.
So, but I like bringing him now because I feel like I can afford to do so, and I think XWA, that echoes the sentiment that I think these points are allowing people to make choices that they don't feel really bad about in list building,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
because it's not
I
super
agree.
meta.
The one thing I want to bring up was the changes made to First Order. The one thing I definitely agree with a lot of people was that First Order felt like it was kind of behind the curve when
Yeah.
compared to the other factions that got the rebalance from the previous points update. One of the surprises for me actually was the Red Fury Zealot, that Thai Whisper generic that came out there. A lot of people that I talked to kind of dismissed it a little bit because it doesn't have the ability to take the special suite that allows you to
Yeah,
jam
thank
with it.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is honestly it's fine to me, right? Because it just forces you to play it a different way. And having a
Hmm.
3-point ship that has the potential to to really go like really fast. It can equip sensor scramblers. It still has enough loadout points to put in pattern analyzer and proud tradition, make it a really
Or
excellent night
optics.
fighter. Or optics. Honestly, I was looking at this originally because you could fit up to four of them and put in Major Strident in the Upsilon shuttle, which you can also equip General Hux on there to expand the range of your coordinate on there.
Hmm.
And you can really get those ships into really good blocking positions and then coordinate them to boost and rotate as you need to take shots uncontested. Do you think that this is going to be a big shakeup for First Order, those ships?
Yeah, I think the Red Fury Zealot has like slightly too much loadout just because I saw it was sensor scramblers, fanatical, and optics in one of our the games I was streaming, playoff games, and shout out to Sean Bowman for playing the hell out of that list and showing why they're really good. But 4-die bullseye, being able to focus, rotate, shoot
Oh
out the
God,
back,
yeah,
being able to cloak and go fast, and then also being able to have an efficient attack with optics. Like I just think that that's like a little too much. But I like the design space being explored. Like, yeah, these guys you can take generics. More generics being viable in the game is good, but they can't jam, thankfully.
yeah.
And you can and they're I2, so there are a lot of chances to take them off the board before they can really do a lot of damage. But man, those 4-die guns at range 1, you get bullseye. There's a lot to take with optics for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I was gonna say blackout also being reduced to 5 points. I think is
Oh,
gonna
thank
give
God.
them a
yeah,
lot more
blank
list building
out.
ability.
Yeah, we love to. I like to call him blank out just because it just feels inevitable with a non Kylo silencer. Even a Kylo silencer, sometimes you get that, but I definitely agree. Blackout going down was good, and I think thematically, as Greg and I had a stream, I hosted on 312 last week talking about these changes, and Greg, I asked him like, hey, why did Gaelic, for example, lose the cannon slot? Why Static lose the cannon slot? It's like, well, it's just not thematic. They don't have cannon slot. They don't have cannons. They can't take cannons.
Yeah.
These ships. It's not canon to have cannons, as they'd say. But they have sensors, yeah. So being able to take fire control system, that's really good for Midnight, for example. Like Midnight really loves the ability to re-roll a die without having to spend the lock. How many times have you brought Midnight and like needed to spend your lock immediately? It feels bad.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
cool. I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
will.
that was a good call. Thanks for highlighting First Order.
Yeah.
yeah,
Appreciate that. Definitely hoping they do a little bit better. First Order's tough. They just don't have a lot of choices. The Upsilons are getting more play now, but they just don't have a ton of choices in terms of different chassis. And I think that's why you don't see a ton of people playing FO, um, or
yeah. I just
enjoying it
think
maybe
that
in XWA.
I just hope that hopefully with newer shows coming out, on Disney Plus and with the newer movies and stuff like that, that we'll get to see more of the sequel trilogy fleshed out. Like get to see more ships on there. I'm pretty excited so far with Skeleton Crew to see some of the lore for some of the newer ships that they've been displaying on there, because that's just more things that we can pull from later on to hopefully bring into the game or in future games. I mean, even in Star Wars Unlimited right now, they've been bringing out stuff that we've seen in some of the newer shows that have come out on there,
I
and it's great to see that that stuff that we're seeing on the screen is translating into our Star Wars games and stuff. So it's pretty exciting to see what they'll bring in the future.
I was going to say, yeah, in Star Wars Unlimited, that it's cool to see like chips that have come out on just the new TV shows are immediately making it into the game, which is like it's super neat.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say before we move over to talking about SWU for a few minutes is that XWA thought that Resistance was in a pretty good spot. They didn't even make a single change to Resistance, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
That's Resistance has always been a lot better than people think in terms of performance.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's cool.
Very consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, let's segue over to Planning Phase Syndicate a little bit here. I've wanted to talk to you about PPS for quite a while, JJ, and I do appreciate you guys having me on a few times in the past. And you guys have been very passionate about Star Wars gaming, specifically X-wing. You guys were just doing X-wing, and now you've kind of done a little halvesies situation slash mostly focusing on Star Wars Unlimited. Um, so, how did you guys start Planning Phase Syndicate? We'll start with that question, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Planning Phase Syndicate originally started with a group of guys out of Michigan, Chris Tanner, Matt, and a guy that lived in Florida. His name is Charles Dillman. They were original founders of Planning Phase Syndicate. Chris had some previous experience running podcasts and stuff for some of his local stuff there in Michigan, and he was introduced to X-wing, and he really got into the game. And the three of them got together and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's form a podcast and let's do it." They went through about 6 months, and I played with Charles quite a bit at the time, and they brought me on to as a host, and I've been doing it ever since, going 2.5 years strong. We are comprised right now of just mainly myself, Chris Tanner, who's our lead host, and then our perennial guest host, Alex Merrill from the Best and Best Warmers. We started off doing X-wing coverage quite a bit, doing our targeting our podcast more towards the newer players, trying to discuss breakdowns for like list archetypes and pilot breakdowns and such. And we did that for a while, and then we went through a period of time where there was a lull in content from AMG. We went through, what was it, like 2 years, I think, without any updates
God,
from AMG. And it as a podcaster, it becomes really really difficult to
it's
kind of
called getting
sustain
ghosted.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And it was tough. It was a very tough decision for us when we decided to bring our focus more towards Star Wars Unlimited. It was a game that myself and Chris really, really got into, and Alex got into as well. I got to try it out in PAX, and then I convinced Chris to like, hey, this game is really cool. You should definitely check this out. And I got to play it at PAX last year, and we were definitely blessed to be in contact with FFG, and they allowed us to spoil some of their new cards for the last set that came out, and
That's awesome.
we've been able to cover that ever since. There, we're not totally done with X-wing at all. As a matter of fact, I still play X-wing more than anything else, board game wise, and Chris also plays, and oddly enough, he is like one of the top players this season for the trash league, which I found hilarious because he was normally pegged as a CIS player for the longest time, and then he came into the league as a Falcon, and then just proceeded to like have like a 7-3 season, which is actually fantastic.
That's
He did
incredible.
way better than I did, which is awesome. But yeah, we still play X-wing, and we do have regular updates for X-wing when we get it there. We were definitely like super super excited to interview Ali when the beta points came out, and of course the interview that we had with you, and yeah, we try to cover the major events as they come up there. We are definitely really excited to see what's going to happen post Worlds with the XWA, mainly because we want to see where it leads. Right, it kind of
Hmm.
gives us the free reins to take the game into a better direction, right, as a community, and we're excited to see what the new tournaments will look out there. I mean, just listening to the various um, outlets that have been putting out news for XWA, for price support with your guest that you had last podcast from Lock and Roll. Just seeing that price support that you guys are gathering up there to give out for different events that are running XWA events. That's something that's going to be great. And big
Well,
shout
and the
out
store
to,
kits. Yeah.
yeah, those store kits. Yeah. The big shout out that I want to give to is also to Harry Nick, who recently opened up his Geeky Bit store that actually has a lot of components for X Wing that you can purchase there, including a custom dial that can work with any ship. That's something that will be needed in the future when it becomes more difficult to find some of the core sets or like a secondhand market.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's
Yeah.
exciting.
I enjoyed talking to him for our podcast as well, interviewing Nick. I've always been a big fan of his.
Hmm.
When I got an X-wing, I absolutely adored his channel, and it just felt very nurtured by his channel and the way he covered the game. And it was really great to be able to have a one-on-one with him and talk to him. And yeah, definitely check out his store and just kind of creating like an evergreen solution to initiatives and dials for pilots and stuff that's compatible with the game. Um, Appreciate him stepping in to do that. And y'all should definitely support him and his channel and his store. Yeah, as JJ said, Geeky Bits. We can include a link in the description of the channel or of this episode with that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, 2025 is I feel is going to be a great year for Star Wars gaming in general. If you're just
for
a
sure.
fan of Star Wars and want to get into a competitive gaming scene. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
JJ,
especially yeah.
what do you like about SWU specifically? Like what like at PAX last year like stood out to you? Is like, oh man, like I'm hooked.
So I previously played a lot of different card games. I tend to play a lot of like board games and card games on the regular. But what really grabbed my attention about SWU was the way that they divvied up the areas or the arenas where you compete. Right, you have a ground-based side where you have your ground-based units, and then you have your space side where you have your space units and like capital ships and starships there, and you have to really focus on balancing the two sides, right? You don't want to neglect one side because your opponent can completely overwhelm you and destroy your base from that side. But at the same time, you have leader abilities which are unique to each different leader that you can build your deck around with. That really give you a tactical advantage when you're trying to kind of outmaneuver your opponent there. There's so many different ways to build different lists, different decks and stuff, and they've done a really, really good job of really bringing out the lore. The biggest part of it is bringing out the same character, but from different points in time where they have different abilities, namely characters like Anakin Skywalker or even Luke Skywalker and such, or some of the clone troopers. Each clone trooper has their own feel for what they're doing, especially with the new pack that came out, the new set 3. It's just really fun and entertaining to use the same leader and make different decks that give them a different tactic to it, or just use different leaders in general and have different feels for it. So it makes the replayability of the game much higher than what I've experienced playing like Magic the Gathering, for instance, or even Lorcana. I was very big into Lorcana when it came out, but Star Wars Unlimited just won me over immediately. Yeah.
That's cool. I did. Andrew, have you tried Unlimited yet?
I played one game,
Me
just the initial starter game. Yeah,
I played with Peter, um, my boy Peter, who helped me get an X-wing. Actually, um, he's basically moved on to Unlimited, which is what a lot of X-wing players are doing. Like, there's a lot that are like you, JJ, that are still doing both, but a lot of them have left X-wing to play Star Wars Unlimited, and so I have a bitter relationship with SWU only because of that. I wish like they're so different. The games are could not be more different. That I'm like, hey, like play both. Like I ran into
yeah,
someone at
yeah.
the airport with Steven back when we landed from Philly, and he had a resistance hat on, and Steven's like, hey, nice hat, and the guy's like, oh hey, and he's like, did you guys just come from PAX? We're like, yeah. We started talking, and we were like, we're playing X-wing. He's like, oh, I was playing Unlimited. And he's like, I used to play X-wing, but I play Unlimited now. I'm like, and I said, like, you can play both. You can still play both.
I mean, I was
Like,
gonna say
yeah.
JJ's proof of that. Yeah,
He's like, oh yeah, like maybe I still have my stuff. And I was like, it's like, hey, like, come back. Like, it's a card game. It's so different. You can play both. So,
yeah.
I think it's the timing of Star Wars Unlimited. It honestly was needed for a lot of people because
Yeah.
Yeah.
people who were not feeling X-wing or other games, there's a bit of a lull. They have this new, exciting, and very well designed game with good mechanics. Like, I was impressed with the game. I got curb stomped, but like it was so thematic. I was like, man, FFG is so good at finding
Yeah.
ways to just echo thematicism through all of their games. They're
Just
really good at that.
the premise of it, of you have a leader and you are trying to find and destroy the other opponent's base. I mean, that's basically almost every Star Wars movie, and you get to play it out in the way that you have your strategy. Also, if you like the ships, like an X-wing, there are ships in the game, and the characters that you love. Like, yeah, it's a cool, like, Star Wars game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing about FFG too is that FFG has the experience on making Star Wars games and
Hmm.
relying on that brand identity, right? You know, they did Destiny, they started X-wing, and they are very familiar with the lore, and you can really tell in the way that they themed their cards, and they themed the several sets that have come out so far, based around this singular theme, and flesh it out really well with the wealth of characters that are available in Star Wars. So I think the main reason why you see a lot of X-wing players transition over to Star Wars Unlimited is because there's that familiarity with the theme and the lore for Star Wars. Um, they don't share the same art, sadly, but it's easy for people to be familiar with the characters. You know, you have people that have their favorite Star Wars character, and they can play them with their other favorite cast and stuff in a theme deck. And as a person who really enjoys list making in X-wing, creating different decks and different lists for your decks is right up my alley, because I can tell you that the majority of my time playing Star Wars Unlimited is making decks, making thematic decks with specific characters doing specific things, and just having a blast that way. It doesn't always have to be competitive, but
Hmm.
it's always fun when you get that perfect run of cards that just completely makes your opponent just confused on what's going to happen next, and they're not prepared for it, and it just creates those moments there where you can have that aha moment, right? It's a lot of fun.
I was gonna say I play a lot of like Magic the Gathering as my card game, and especially Commander. So when I heard that they have like the Twin Suns format on at Star Wars Limited, that's
Yeah.
kind of the one that I want to play the most. The singleton
Oh yeah.
format with like 4 players, because one of my favorite parts about card games is like the social aspect of it, and sitting down with like multiple players to play. It's one thing why I really loved Epic too in X-wing. So anything that gives me that kind of feel is something that I'm looking for in a game. So I haven't played that yet, and that's the one that I'd be like most excited.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a ton of fun. I highly suggest it.
Yeah, and you guys should, if you're if you want to support SWU and get that fix for Star Wars Unlimited content, definitely go over to JJ's channel, Planning Phase Syndicate, because you guys are doing. It's really cool that you got to spoil some stuff. FFG is giving you guys some love. I
Yeah.
think you guys deserve it. Alex is telling me you guys are doing really well covering SWU, so that's awesome.
I was gonna say I love the like for new players, the deck building guides that you have, and like the how to get started guides. Like if you are interested in getting started unlimited, definitely check out Planning Phase Syndicate, because it's one of the best primers to get you ready to play your first game.
Hell yeah. Last thing, guys, before we put a little bow, it's very themed in terms of the time of the
Oh,
year, a little bow on this. New Year's resolutions. We roll our eyes because a lot of the times it's hard to to sustain a New Year's resolution. But give me, for both of you guys, give me one that's like a personal thing, like, this is something I want to do for myself, and then maybe one that's like geeky, nerdy, Star Wars gamey, X-wing, whatever it is, a resolution as well. So JJ, I'll start with you. What you got?
Um, well, I gotta go with I absolutely am making it my personal goal to make it out to Adepticon this coming year. It is going to be the last AMG Worlds that we're gonna have for X-wing. I know it's
mm-hmm.
going to be such a huge event, and I want to make it all the way up to day 2 just to make sure. But I'm bringing a couple of sweet decks with me just in case I don't. But I absolutely like, out of all the events going on next year, that is the one thing that I really really am excited to go to, and I have to make it out this year for sure. I'm probably going to drive all the way from North Carolina to go up there to Milwaukee, just to have the freedom of having my own car and driving around Milwaukee out there. But that is definitely a personal goal of mine to make it out there, and yeah, just have a blast out there.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see you there. That'd be great.
Yeah.
What do you have one that has nothing to do with a gaming convention?
Yeah,
'Cause
actually,
that is a good one.
the other one I want to do actually is I tend to have a really big creative side. Like, I like to make content for a lot of different things, and one of the things I've been working on for, right, probably about like 3 years now, is Heroes of the Atari Cluster, or at least
Yeah.
related to that. So I've been working on an RPG campaign based on Heroes on the Atari Cluster that is meant to be run by like a GM, helping players to go through it. And I wanted to run it as a way to get people who may have not played the game to get into the game, because you want to be able to work as a team, to get
Hmm.
familiar with the mechanics of the game and stuff, and make it very user friendly for first time players who may have never played the game before. And I want to make it very intricate. I want to have a lot of different scenarios and stuff, and borrow elements from other games like Armada, from Star Wars Unlimited and such, and integrate it into one game there. So that way, anybody can play it, everybody can have a lot of fun doing it, and that would definitely satisfy my own personal creative itch that I have to make content.
That's awesome. That's how I got started into X-Wing. Was I was planning on just doing Here's the Artillery Cluster first.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like those. Those are good resolutions, JJ. I back both of them. What
Nice.
about you, Andrew?
Yeah, my news resolution, my non-nerdy one is just to be better at remembering people's names when I first meet.
That's a really good one.
I'm gonna
It's a
I'm
tough
gonna
one.
if I yeah, if I can up that percentage, like I'm hoping for like 80%. I think that would be a good place to start.
And when in doubt, just say Chief. Point at him, say, "Hey, Chief."
Hey, hey man, hey.
Soldier, Sarge.
What's up? Yeah.
Hey, Chief.
That's the whole thing where it's like if you woke up with amnesia, you're not gonna just yell at people like, "Who are you?" Like John Mulaney has a joke like this too. It's you're gonna be like, "Oh, hey guys, like what's going on?" Like,
That is really funny.
yeah,
What's your nerdy one?
yeah. My nerdy one is honestly just to be able to play more. I'd like to show up at as many tournaments as I did in 2022. Felt like 2023 was kind of a slower year for me, so I would just like to get more involved in the X-wing scene. Maybe
20
even
2023 or 2024?
well, I felt like I did a whole bunch of tournaments in 2023, yeah, and then
Okay,
2020
so
this
this year.
past year, yeah, this past year,
Okay.
like I didn't do as I guess many as I'd like to, but that was more just because I had a lot of other stuff going on. But no, I think I'd like to in 2025 get a lot more involved in the X-wing scene. Maybe even at least try out as an alternate for some draft leagues and dip my toe in there as well because it seems like everyone's having a lot of fun with those
Yeah.
and they seem great.
Still signups open for the team league, 312 team league.
All right, well there you go.
Matt joined. Matt, our local Matt is playing in it. So 312. It was a good year for us. We started our Patreon at the beginning of the year, and it opened the doors for us to do a lot. And not a lot like we got a lot of equipment already with that help. We've put ourselves in a position to be able to travel with that equipment in a safe and compact way. So 312 resolution, I guess 3 resolutions here. 312 wise is to be able to get on a plane with our gear and stream an event somewhere that I cannot drive to. Convention, big tournament, whatever. I'd love to do
Yeah.
that. I by January, the goal is to have everything capable and ready to be able to do that. That's the goal, and it looks like that's going to happen, which is super exciting. Um, the other thing is just continuing to do more with 312 when it comes to online tournaments, because we've done a couple. We have the Blues Brothers Bonanza this weekend. We got
Yeah,
32 plus players for that.
it was very fun
Yeah.
seeing the art for that one.
The logo, yeah, I love that. Thanks, John. Copper Blue making that logo for us. Um, just being able to provide more content and more playing opportunities for players. So that'll be a challenge, but I hope to do that and look forward to that. For myself, I'd like to do a little bit more socially when it comes to like activities. Um, you know, dating is not the only thing I want to be doing socially. I'm exhausted from it, and I love hanging out with the guys playing games, but we don't play games all the time. So I think maybe doing some sort of like I don't know what it would be. Softball is definitely on my radar for the summer and fall.
Oh,
Maybe
nice.
spring if the weather is holds and is nice enough in the spring. It's always iffy in Chicago. Just want to
Mhm.
be outside more and do more, a little bit more active. So that's a good one. I think being a little bit more social and just keeping myself out there is a goal. And then nerdy wise, I just want to win. I want to win an X-wing tournament of some sort. So I'd like to say Worlds, but Duncan Howard exists, so I'm gonna look elsewhere.
So
But I want to play well
look,
at Worlds.
I mean, you never know.
so hang on, two questions. So does that mean that you're coming to the Richmond Open, and are you bringing your mom?
Oh,
Ooh.
oh well, you know what? The fact is, my mom estranged from you because the fact you have to ask me on her whereabouts suggests that your relationship with my mom is not looking very good. That's embarrassing, and also good for my mom and I because we could finally get out of this terrible situationship you guys have been in. Oh my god, terrible. Richmond Open, dude. You played at Richmond. You made final table at Richmond Open, didn't you?
Yes, I did against Duncan Howard.
Yep.
Went
Yeah, how'd
undefeated
that go?
last year. Yeah,
He's so good,
yeah,
dude.
man.
I mean,
It's silly.
yeah, we all knew
Um,
how that went, but no, I mean that's incredible. What a great run.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will go to LVO. I when is Richmond Open?
It is May 1st.
After it's not going to be a GT,
Yeah,
but there'll be X-wing.
Yeah.
yeah. It should be a GT actually, because I think it's the last GT that we have here in North America.
Oh, they're doing It's weird to do post Worlds GTS, but I guess because they don't
I
connect to
know.
each other, it's
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's possible. May that gives you me a lot of time. Sure.
yeah. I mean, and if we're still doing the same venue that we did last year, literally right across the parking lot is King's Dominion, which is like a big theme park that has like a ton of rides and stuff. So can
Oh,
hit that
that's
up right
awesome.
after the tournament. So yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
cool.
That
That's
sounds
really
great.
cool. That's
All
awesome.
right, maybe I'll
Well,
go to Richmond too.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's do it. Any final say, guys, as we wrap up the year here?
It's I'll go first. It's been a great year. Really, really excited to see what XWA has done so far. And if you're on the fence and still not sure, what to do about X-wing and stuff like that, definitely check XWA out. Take a look at all the work that they've done and rebalancing the points and stuff. There's a lot of new stuff coming out for XWA. Big shout out to Paul Heber for the work that he's done for Epic Play. I know that we have an upcoming interview with him over at Planning Phase Syndicate to discuss the Epic Play changes that's come out there.
Yeah.
But definitely take a look at all the new stuff that's coming out. I know that you guys have big stuff coming out next year once Worlds is concluded. And yeah, we're gonna keep the game alive as long as possible. So the shout out goes to all the current and future X-Wing players. Thank you so much for supporting the game, and we hope to still see you guys out at all the events, even if it's still AMG points. We still want to have a good time. We still want to play the game and have fun with everybody.
Well said, Andrew.
Yeah, for sure. No, I was gonna. I mean, I've never been more excited for the direction of X-wing. It was great playing in the 312, the Chicago tournament that we just had back in November. And it's honestly, it's just been awesome.
Yeah, I'm. There's a lot to look forward to in 2025. for sure. And I hope to see all of you, or a lot of you, at Adepticon. And if not, I'm sure I'll catch you around online or at another event. We appreciate you all. All right. So thank you to JJ for joining us for our final podcast episode 23, to wrap up the year. Make sure you guys check out Planning Phase Syndicate on Twitch. You can find the link to their channel in our description of this episode. Now, for the holidays, the best gift you can give us is your continued support. So look out for bigger things from 312 this coming year. If you aren't already following us on Twitch, what are you doing, huh? Follow us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, because you should, because Cassian said you had to. The links to those in the description as well. And lastly, but not leastly, if you think 312 has been extra good this year, consider joining our Patreon. We have some amazing benefits, including exclusive commissioned cards, tokens, stickers, and much more. Not to mention early access to content, Discord benefits, and awesome discounts on all of our events, whether you're playing in person or online. We hope you have a safe and happy holiday season. On behalf of all of us here at 312, we know you have many options when it comes to which squadron you choose to fly with, and we thank you for choosing us. We'll see you in 2025. My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Andrew Kouba.
And I'm JJ.
And we will see you next year.